Hey, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while, but I've been doing a lot of travel. I'm actually in Japan right now and in the Hiroshima area, and I thought it'd be fun to do a little get ready with me today and kind of share some of the exciting adventures I've been up to. It's been a really long work trip, but I have been able to squeeze in a little bit of sightseeing here and there, and what I have fit in has been super fun, like yesterday. So let me wash my face real quick and then we'll get started. Okay, perfect. All right, let's go in. It's a really cloudy day and it's supposed to rain this afternoon, but I'm gonna go ahead and apply a SPF. So I brought a sample SPF of the Hero, the green one, and I like that one a lot, but I've used it up, so I'm back to the Ulta MD UV Clear. This is just an amazing sunscreen. So speaking of sunscreens, obviously Japan is known for theirs, and I picked up quite a few, probably more than I should have, but Japan's so unique because not only do like their drugstore brands like Biore and Curel and Skin Aqua, pretty much like your basic like drugstore brands, kind of like similar to CeraVe have SPFs, but also almost all of the makeup brands themselves have SPFs, whether that be like true SPF, like standalone sunscreens, or like BB creams that have high SPF numbers. So it's really difficult to narrow down your selection. But so I did buy a few to try, and so I'll show you guys all of those once I get back to the States. If you've never traveled over here, they do have a tax-free policy for tourists, and the caveat to that is that for beauty products especially, they put it in a tax-free bag, seal it up, and you're not allowed to open it. It has one of those types of labeled seals where if you did open it, they would certainly know, and then you would be subject to the tax, is my understanding. All right, so SPF is applied. Now let's go in with, I've been doing my eyes first. I've not been getting a lot of sleep here, and I brought the best concealer and corrector. That being the Natasha Denona concealer and corrector. Gosh, these are so good. The corrector shade I use is C1. Natasha posted a video on her Instagram recently talking about how to select the correct shade for correctors and concealers, and it was very enlightening. I've always kind of used both, but she was saying that for dark blue and purple under eyes, you really only need the concealer shade, you really only need the corrector shade, no matter what skin tone you are. Like, this is certainly like more peachy and darker than my skin tone, but it still blends out and works really well. So I'm gonna be using my BK Cosmetics Angie Hot and Flashy A506, this kitten paw brush, to blend out. You don't need a whole lot with this, just like a few tiny dots, and I do kind of bring the excess over on top of the lid, but it just does a really good job at concealing and like correcting all of this darkness I've got going on. Like, look how great that looks. I might add a little bit more. I'm literally going off of 4 hours of sleep, maybe. I just couldn't fall asleep last night because I was just looking through photos and the videos I took, and just yesterday was a really great day, and it was hard to fall asleep from that. But I've got another jam-packed day today, and it's going to be a little more somber. So I'm going to the Peace Memorial and Museum, and I've heard it's life-changing. So I'm excited to learn more about that historical event and kind of the atrocities that happened. They say the exhibits are just unreal. So it'll be a little bit more of a sad day, but after that I'm going back to Nagoya, and we'll be there for a few more days until I leave for Tokyo. Alright, so let's go into that. Leave the under eyes like that, so I kind of corrected the under eye as best I can for now. And then I hate how these Natasha Denona palettes are so loud. Golly, is anybody else's like that? I've literally put WD-40 on it last year and it's still, again, just obnoxiously loud. Alright, so eyeshadow brushes. Let's go. I brought all of these eye brushes, or just facing eye brushes. I really tried to limit my selection, and you pack in a few extras, and I'm using the same 3 eyeshadow brushes I always use. But that's okay, I need options. Okay, so the main one I use is this Refer 27. I really like this one, made in Japan as well. So yesterday, let me segue into telling you about my day yesterday. So I started out traveling to Nagoya, I was in Nagoya and went to Nagoya Station, bought a ticket to the bullet train, the Shinkansen, and came to the Hiroshima stop. It's about maybe a 2-hour trip, even on the bullet train. I downloaded the like a speedometer app just to track how fast we were going. They say they go up to like 200 miles an hour. The fastest I clocked on that route was 180 something, like right at 180, 183. So really easy. It's very comfortable. I wish we had that method of transportation or something similar in the US, because the seats are comfortable. They recline. They actually recline, not like US reclining flights, but they're comfortable. They're easy. You get on, get off. It's not terribly expensive. It's great. But so yeah, traveled on Shinkansen to the Hiroshima, and then the good thing about if you are going to travel and say you're not going to stay overnight at a place, you can keep your luggage at the train station by renting a storage locker. And so that's what I did. So I think it was like, I don't even remember, less than $10 for the storage locker for the day. And that just allows you to drop your things, leave your things at the train station, go explore, do whatever throughout the day, and then come back whenever you need it and check it out. So really safe, secure, all of that. Sorry, and I didn't even explain. So I am using the Natasha Denona Glam palette, and I just went in with a combination of these 2 shades. For the outer corner, I am going to go in with, you know what, I'm going to use the sparkly one. This is actually, it might not be right because I think I've organized mine. But this sparkly, deeper shade in the outer corner. But after I stored my things in the storage locker, got on the local, transferred to the local train, and took that to Itsukushima, which is also known as Miyajima Island. And basically, Google that, or I'll insert a picture actually. But that's where you have the iconic shrine and that arch that when you think of Japan, you think of this. So I'm glad I did a little bit of research before I came and realized that that was in this area. And so I made a point to do that while I was here. And the other good thing is I have not had time to go to Nara, but I really want to. I love animals, and gosh, the thought of like deer just coming up to you is just a dream. So when I was doing research on this island, they have deer on this island. So it was basically kind of like a 2-in-1. I get to see an iconic landmark, World Heritage Site, while also kind of like fulfilling the Nara fantasy. And boy, did it deliver. It was so easy. So you take the local train to the Miyajima stop and then transfer to the ferry. And the ferry is run by the same company that does the train. So if you ever come here, get on your wallet, like on your phone wallet, the either the Suica or ICOCA card. And it's basically like a transit card, and you load money to it, and that gets you everywhere. Trains, this ferry, you can even use it at drugstores. And you just tap. It's incredibly fast, easy, simple. Oh, and taxis too. Like pretty much everywhere that I've found takes it, except for like true restaurants, I think maybe don't take it. I'm not sure. I always pay with credit card there, but pretty much everywhere else definitely accepts it. So that's great. But back to the story. So the ferry ride was a 10-minute ferry ride, super quick, over to the island. And literally as soon as you get off of the ferry, there's deer in this park. And then you follow the trail down over to where the arch is, the shrine. And they're just everywhere, like walking the streets. And they're so sweet, so docile. Just no aggression. They don't bite. They're just minding their own business, just lounging around. They're a little bit curious and they'll come up to you. There were babies, baby deer, fawns, I guess you'd call them. But it was so amazing. I could have stayed there just for the deer alone, and I wish I had more time. So I got there around like 11:30 or 12, and so I had a couple hours on the island. They have a park that is further in on the island that I would have loved to go to, but I know I didn't have enough time. And so originally I was going to fit all of this stuff in one day, and there's no way it would have happened, just with the transit times and actually wanting to see what you're going there for. There just was not enough time. So that's why I actually just bought a hotel room. And I'm actually staying at the Hilton, Hiroshima. Oh my gosh, it is one of, if not the nicest hotel I've ever stayed at. It's so fancy. And all in with the taxes, I think it was like $124 for the night. Incredible. But so Miyajima was a hit. I got so many good pictures. I'll insert a video and some pictures from that now. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm at the eyelash step now, so I'm gonna go in with this like pretty champagne gold all over the lid. But yeah, that was an amazing, I highly recommend that. All right, so then after that I had always known, being a makeup lover and getting into brushes such as these rougher ones. I've got Wayne Goss, I've got some Sonia G, and one of them that I actually have is Koyudo, which is a really, it's a bigger brand here in Kumano, handmade in Kumano. And Kumano is it was an hour from the Miyajima, so south of Hiroshima. It was an hour from there to Kumano. So left around 1:30 or like 2, I can't remember. I think I left around 2. It was like an hour and a half, I want to say. But anyways, I previously this week, I really have wanted to go see if they offer tours, and luckily Koyudo does. I didn't do a whole lot of research into the other companies like Chikuhodo, Tenseido, or any of the others that are in Kumano, but one of the first ones that did pop up was Koyudo, and I knew they were a great brand, so I went ahead and got on their website to book. And you basically send a reservation request. They normally have Monday through Saturdays. Thankfully, I did email them earlier last week because I was originally going to do it today, Saturday, but they quickly emailed back and were like, no, it's a holiday and we're closed. Can you come another day? So I'm like, you know what? I'm in Japan and I really want to do this. And we've been working so much. I've only had 2 days off all of January. So, or actually not even 1 day off all of January. So I took off yesterday, Friday, to go do that. And I'm so glad I did. So it's a little bit of a hike to get up there in terms of like taking the train and then the bus. But if you've traveled and you know Google Maps, it is incredible. Google Maps is really helpful. It tells you exactly where to go, what's stop to be at, what platform, what bus, what time. Like it's really simple once you do it a few times. So anyways, I got there a little early at 3:30 and was looking around. They have a little shop and with all their brushes that you can purchase, you can feel, and immediately was greeted by a gentleman who honestly was like dressed as the CEO, like super fancy, like he looked high up. And he knew me by name. He was greeted me. He's like, hello, are you ready to start your tour? He did only speak Japanese, but he had this cool little device that would translate in real time. So we used that a little bit, but he took me back to a room. And as it turns out, I was the only one on this tour and the workshop. So they have a factory tour that's free. And then they have a brush making workshop, which is, I'll have to look up and insert the prices, but very affordable, like very affordable, where you get to actually make your own brush. So of course I wanted to do that. So that's why I made the reservation in advance, but he took me back to the room and then had this great presentation prepared about how the general brush making process and how they try to reuse materials. And I'm gonna make another video on that because I want to showcase the brushes that I got. But it was incredible. The PowerPoint was prepared. He let me keep the slide handouts that he had. And then we started making the brush. Step by step, he's sitting in front of me showing, also making one to show me and then helping me with mine. And it was just, you got to pick your the color of the bristles. You got they already had the brush handle. You got to engrave your name in it. Oh my gosh, it turned out amazing. And then you had to choose the brush shape, whether you want a round traditional brush or a rose flower shaped brush head. But it was such a treat. Like honestly, I cannot speak highly enough about the experience because all in all, he showed me the brush at the end, and it is such a nice brush. It's a nice brush, but also like when you think of Japan, or I do, you think of Japanese makeup brushes, and I love when I travel trying to find like local, like truly local artisan crafted things. And so to get to experience that, you know, historical tradition, what they're known for in this area, and then do it yourself, oh, it was such, and then the final product was just the total icing on top. Like it's something I'm gonna keep and use and think about and just reminisce on this trip, because it's great. I cannot recommend enough. So then after the tour, or after making the brush, he toured me around the facility, which it's very small. If you're thinking like giant factory, it's not. It's like a more so of an office building with different workshops or workstations, if you will. There's not a lot of workers. You could see the workers working. It's very clean, very professional, very well lit, and it's not dirty, dingy, terrible working conditions, nothing like that. It's very, very top notch. I got that much. And then after the tour, oh, and by the way, so Koyudo produces makeup brushes for their brand as well as other brands, other OEMs, and they mentioned that in the presentation. And so I was curious. I was looking for what the actual workers were making, and there's all kinds of colored ferrules and handles and whatnot, but I did notice in the back, and this is probably, it could very well be wrong, this is highly speculative, but I did notice matte black handles that looked a lot like the Reffer brushes. So obviously Reffer doesn't make their own brushes, like they outsource it through a supplier. So I'm kind of curious, does Reffer use, are they really like Koyudo made? Interesting. I'd love to know. When I was in the gift shop at the end, I did notice that Koyudo had a black handle. Sorry, this isn't Reffer. Did have a fully black handle, matte handle like the Reffer, so it very well could have been their own, but it was interesting. But yeah, it was just great. And then after that, I toured around the gift shop, and thankfully one of the workers did speak English, and so my guide went and got her, and she was like helping me narrow down the options for which brushes I wanted to select, and like telling me what types of bristles they are and all of this. So it was really helpful. The other good thing about there, even if you don't have time for a factory tour or something, I suggest you make the time, but if you can't for some reason, their shop is pretty large, and they have a few stations that are outlet items, they called, so at a discount, and depending on the color sticker that was on it was how many yen it was, but I was able to snag a lot of good deals. And so they might have been, I don't know, you know how outlet items could be like defect items, but they were like, yeah, no, it's still really good quality, it just doesn't meet like the highest quality standards that we have, but as far as I can tell, they're the exact same. And some of them are of the items are also just discontinued brushes, so they might have a few left over in a certain style or handle or whatever, but others, like they had the outlet version, and then they had the like true like retail, like sale, full sale, or fully priced, I can't speak, fully priced brush, and I honestly couldn't tell a difference. They had goat hair brushes, squirrel hair brushes, I think even a few horsehair, but they had dyed goat hair, undyed goat hair, both with the synthetic dyes as well as natural dyes. They talked about the importance of the quality of the bristles, which that's certainly something you notice. they had the fun kawaii designed brushes, you know, like in the shape of roses or a cat paw, or what else? A soccer ball. Some looked like a mushroom. Just really cool, unique brushes. So it was a treat. So I bought more brushes than I should have, but you know, at the same time, all of the brushes I bought came out to be like $140, I want to say. So, and these brushes would have been like way, way more than that if I'd have bought them from the States. So, if I could even get these brushes in the States. So, I got some really pretty ones. Some I'm excited to add to my collection. But the one I made myself is just, it's so pretty. I can't wait to show you. So, stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing all of that. I'm gonna film more content. Obviously, I need to do like my entire beauty haul, so that'll be another video. I've bought so much stuff I should not have, but it's so hard. It's so hard. The US dollar is really strong right now, so the exchange rate is very favorable to us, and it's hard not to go overboard. So I legitimately think I'm gonna have to buy another suitcase in order to get all this stuff home. But after the brush making workshop, I left around 5:15, and then tried to figure my way back to the bus and then the train to get back to Hiroshima. And just a funny little story. I'm a pretty good navigator, like I said. I've got a cell phone with international coverage, and the Google Maps just makes it really easy. But I was at one of the close bus stops next to Koyudo, not the main bus center, which is where I got dropped off going there. So I was already kind of like, Japan has so many bus stops and whatnot, you can go a million different ways. And I should have just stayed at the bus center and taken that route, but I was using Google Maps and it said this other one was quicker, so I did it. So it got to be like 5:26, I think, was the bus stop time. And I'm on one side of the road. Well, at 5:26, I see a bus coming the opposite way, like on the other side of the road. So I'm like, am I in the right place? Because it's not very well, like, other than a little paper timetable that's posted, there's like no other indicator that a bus is actually gonna stop there. So there were cars coming quickly. I let them pass and then ran across the street. The bus had already closed its doors. Thankfully, the driver saw me and opened them again. And so I ran on the bus, got on, and then all of a sudden I'm like tracking on the Google Maps what direction we need to be in. And yeah, it was going the opposite direction. Of course, it began on the opposite side of the road. But it scared me because, or not scared me, but I was like, it's 5:26, it's time for the bus. And like, stuff is never really late here. Like, everything runs pretty much like clockwork on time. So anyways, I quickly got off at the next stop and did a whole loop around back to the original bus center, and then wound up at it on the correct bus that I needed to be at to wind up at, I think it was Yano Station. But yeah, that was a funny little story. Thankfully it was still daylight, so I wasn't walking by myself in the dark. But yeah, yesterday was such an amazing time. I highly recommend you visiting Japan. There's so much to see and do here, and I'm really glad I took advantage of the brush making workshop and then doing a little bit of research into everything else that there is to see here. It's really safe to travel even by yourself. So I came here for work, but yesterday everybody else was working, so it was just me that took off. And I was completely comfortable. I'm really proud of myself this trip because I'm getting outside of my comfort zone and finding that it's not as scary as, you can build it up to be in your head. And that's certainly true here. So I had a really good day. I'm proud of myself for taking advantage of these types of opportunities whenever I have them. And then just being a little bit adventurous and doing things that are a little bit outside of your comfort zone and a little bit scary. So yeah, it's been a great trip, and have fit a lot of stuff in that I didn't think I would be able to see, so I'm glad of that. All right, bronzer, highlight. Now let's do a little bit of, or bronzer, blush. Let me do a little bit of highlight. So I've been relying on this. I've done a video on this, I think, the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look of Love Pretty Blush Beauty palette. Oh, this is iconic. They don't make it anymore. I wish they did, but it's just a perfect travel palette. It's got your bronzer, the classic Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. It's got the classic Charlotte Tilbury highlight. It's got a peachy blush in here. I didn't use it today. And then it's got these staple, easy wearable eyeshadow shades. Actually, you know what? I meant to use, I'll have to do another video. I bought an RMK brand liquid eyeshadow, and I meant to use that today. But yeah, this is a great palette. All right, let me do my brows and mascara, and then we'll finish up the look. I'm gonna take a little bit more concealer and just try to brighten up the under eyes. Sometimes I do layer the corrector and concealer, like on mornings like this one. Oh, like on mornings like this one. It's just, the darkness is not going away. But yeah. So also this afternoon, Japan is known for having really good designer bags and whatnot, and I'm not really a designer bag person. I like nice bags, leather bags, but I don't have to have Louis Vuitton. But Japan, like, you look around and almost every woman is carrying a designer purse, and like nice designer, like Louis Vuitton, Dior, Louis Vuitton, like all of them. And so I know with the exchange rate and the tax-free, you can get really good deals on even like brand new from the designer boutiques, but they also, because everybody carries these bags, I guess, have a really strong and really good secondary market for them. Like in these, I don't even know what, like, thrift store and secondhand store makes it sound like a Goodwill. Like, no, it's basically like a department store, but used bags, and some of them are even new. I went in one in the Osu district back in Nagoya, and Kumeyo, I'll type it on the screen here, but really good. They had two stores there. The one was just the one floor, but they had everything from Chanel bags to Prada to Gucci to Louis to Balenciaga to Chloe. They had a really good clearance section at the first one, and found a Chloe bag that looks brand new for $400. So that was a good price. But yeah, I want to do a last walkthrough there and see if they've got any new inventory in the past couple weeks. And my sister was wanting a bag, so I'm gonna do a final look for her. But I don't know if I'll purchase anything, but I looked up, and that store also has a store here in Hiroshima, so I might pop in there before I leave this afternoon to just make sure nothing catches my eye. So, pro tip, leave some time for some shopping if you ever come here, because everything's just great. The other thing with the secondary stores is that they have clothes, watches, like pretty much anything. The one thing I've been looking for or needing is a brush. Like, I would really like to have a nice belt. I'm gonna use this to curl my lashes, but I would really like a nice belt. My sister has a Gucci belt that it just elevates the look for whatever she wears. but I also don't want to pay like $500 or $600 for it. So I was thinking like, oh, this would be perfect to get one now at one of these shops, but I have not found hardly any belts. If anything, they're like the skinny belts, and like only 3 then. But one store I went in the Sakai district of Nagoya, I will leave or type up the name of it. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was amazing. It was really small. If you're going there for bags alone, I'd say maybe skip, but for clothes, they had amazing hidden gems at like fractions of the price. So, for instance, Mother jeans, I love Mother jeans. They had some for literally $30. $30. And those are like $200 jeans. The one thing is with their pants, Asian ladies are really small, so it was like size 23 and 24, so way too small for me. No size 25, 26, anything higher than that, unfortunately. But they did have, I found a really nice skirt. I'll show you that in my haul. And then really nice coats, like nice coats. And I've been needing a new dress coat, so I was pleased to find some really good quality wool coats that would have, like, they look like they would cost like $500. And I got the wool coat that looks brand new, plus a skirt, plus maybe, I think it was just those 2 things. There was a white sweater that I was thinking about, but I didn't end up getting it. Those 2 things, $42. Literally $42, and they look brand new. So I'm also gonna try to go back there just to make sure I don't see anything else. They had a really nice English duffel coat and like nice heavy wool. Looked brand new for like $50. Like, just crazy. All right, I already done brows. Let me focus. I need to do mascara. But yeah, I highly recommend Japan. It's been a great trip. Hopefully you catch the enthusiasm and get inspired to maybe visit here one day. But definitely, if you do come to Nagoya and Hiroshima, check out these spots that I'm recommending. All right, I'm back with the finished look. Just a simple, easy look for going to sightsee, going to a museum. I did, I transferred. My eyes were watering because I used, I bought some eye drops. My eyes have been so dry here, and obviously this one is a brightening drop. So last trip I bought the Lycee, the Roto Lycee, the pink ones, and they had like peppermint or menthol, something like that stings in your eyes. So I was trying to find a dupe for Lumify, thinking that surely one exists without it like burning like that, but apparently they all sting and burn like this. So actually I've been using it because just to get use out of it, and I'm getting a little bit used to the burning. But yeah, some people say it feels cooling and refreshing. I think it's more kind of annoying. I don't know why it's there, but anyways, they do work. They do make the whites of your eyes brighter. So, but I would still recommend spending the money on Lumify personally if you're in the States. But I bought this one, and then I bought, after this one burned, I'm like, let me try one more. I looked up a different brand, and I'll show that in my haul. That one also stings. So apparently they all sting, and people in Japan love that feeling. Not me. Leave the minty feeling for your mouth, not your eyes. But anyways, that is the finished look. I'm gonna run down, eat some breakfast, and then get to the museum. And yeah, all set for a day. So I hope you enjoyed this get ready with me. If you've got any questions about Japan, I haven't done a whole lot other than work and these few little sightseeing excursions, but if you've got any questions, I would love to help answer. Or if you've been to Japan, if you've got any sightseeing between Hiroshima and Nagoya you'd love me to see, or even in Tokyo, we're going to be there a couple days, drop them down in the comments and let me know. So other than that, I will see you in my next video. Bye.